players were back on board with the circuit here. Clara, here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we come.
What a crash!
Hello fellow motorsport people and welcome to this week's Retro Motorsport. Like last week, the show is full of bikes, boats and cars. First up in the show this week, it's jet sprinting time. We are in Gisborne in 2002 for round 5 of that year's WSJ World Championship for the Group A boats.
The city of Gisborne on the east coast of the North Island of New Zealand was the venue for the 5th leg of World Series jet sprinting. The Thunder Park Aqua Track is a purpose-built venue just outside the city center. The sunshine had brought out a large crowd for this, the 5th round of the series. It had taken in 2 hemispheres and competitors from America, New Zealand, and Australia. The Gisborne track was designed with one thing in mind: full-on speed. The channels are wide and open and the corners are flowing. The deep water was right to the edge. With only 4 islands, navigation is not an issue. But the twists and the turns both ways through the middle will be the place on the course to gain or lose valuable time. Chris Monroe's win at Manfield had vaulted him to the top of the table, while Teresa Parrish's excellent podium place has lifted her into 3rd place, only 5 points behind Andrew Dalzell, who failed to fire at Manfield.
We were cheap. I had plenty left too, but I drove as fast as I thought I needed to get through and get put out. But that's what happens in this sort of game.
He has always ultimately lacked horsepower in the boat, and at Gisborne, that's what you need. Horsepower, horsepower, and more horsepower. The quickest of the Aussies is Peter Shearer. Mechanical problems dogged him in the early rounds in America and continued at the first round in New Zealand.
Peter, engine problems in round 1, much better today?
Yeah, it seems to be. We checked everything out last night after practice and everything seemed to be all right, so I brought some bits over from Melbourne with me in my suitcase, so hopefully she's fine.
People are saying it's a power track. Have you got the power to do the job?
I believe so. The reliability factor is going to be the factor once again, so we'll just have to see at the end of the day. I've done a few things to hopefully increase that reliability, and we'll see if it pays off.
The only female team in world jet sprinting, Teresa Parrish and Cassie Lack, are having a ball in New Zealand. 3rd at Manfield and a chance to stand on the podium were just reward.
It's something that we've always dreamt of. Whether we come 1st, 2nd, or whatever, it was just great to get up on that podium and finally break out of the 7 and hit the 3.
Has it changed your attitude?
Not really. It's probably got me a little bit more confident than I always have been, but it hasn't really changed my attitude at all.
To win in this coolest of sports, you need luck, and nobody seems to have less than Brian Smith.
Round 1, not so good.
Yeah, tell me about it, Ian. Well, yeah, obviously, as you know, we're on the pace and come down that back straight. I just eased off to set her up for that dirty little corner, and but we went through there real good. As soon as I jumped back on the loud pedal, mate, there was some nasty noises coming from the back, and she rattled and banged, and as soon as I heard that, I backed off, and engine locked solid, mate. Broken crank. You know, the luck's got to turn, and hopefully for the rest of the runs will come good, mate, you know.
Last year, Jason Maxwell was unbeatable, but a new and experimental boat was causing him all kinds of problems.
The trip down under didn't start very well for you.
No, it didn't. We had an experimental boat. It didn't work out, but Russell Dodge, he
Doddsy hooked me up with this boat here. The boat's handling real good. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm concentrating on the boat right now more than the track. I need to concentrate on the track these next 2 runs so I can get a time down.
The morning qualifying brought problems for points leader Chris Monroe. He had to put on a good time to stay in the game.
Very dominant at Manfield. Now you've got these problems. Gives the boys a chance to come back.
Yeah, sort of putting the pressure on us, all right. It'd be just good to go out and have a clean run and not have to worry about anything. We're sort of 3/4 of the way around, we're running out of power.
With only 8 boats going through after the morning qualifying, Peter Shearer topped the table with an incredible 55-14. Chris Monroe was second. He had fixed the boat, but the question was, will it last? For Teresa Parrish, the dream of another podium place was finished. 58-46 was only good enough for 9th. Her day was over. Why don't you can hear a little Sister Soul Supreme Aretha Franklin in the background? That means we must be ready to get underway with the Field of 8 doing it at Gisborne. A lot of people are saying this is the power track for World Series Jet Sprinting. And if you listen very closely, the extremely unique sound of Darren McFarland, the Eagle hull built by Russell Dodds in Taupo. And the reason for the sound is the crossover exhaust system that they use. And you notice at the back of the boat as well, they've got the wing now. Some are saying that it's for downforce to keep the pump in the water. Others are saying that it's also being used to protect the hitters in the event that they roll. And to the split time we go for Darren McFarland, 32-34.
He's the man setting the pace, Jack, and stunning graphics on the DuPont Eagle. And this man getting his best ever World Series result, getting down to the 8. Big move for him. He's been moving in the 58s, and then he's done a 57. That's where he's got to be. As the clock ticks away, then the run. He's going to set the first time on the board. The others to beat is a 57-67.
Wide at the finish, but he gets home. 57.
On the ultra-fast Gisborne, New Zealand track for World Series Jet Sprinting. Next out to attack the track, the J.D. Sawmills boat of Daryl Hutton, who, by the way, had been the co-driver with Rex Prime for many years, but decided that he was going to step out of the co-driver position and get into a full-time position and do it quite nicely for himself, chasing the 57-67 time of Darren McFarland.
Well, he's doing it well, coming into the sport at the highest level. He's been an absolute revelation, and he was very impressive at Manfield. Now he's at Gisborne. Horsepower is the name of the game. Has he got enough at the split 31.88? So he's looking good. The second of the Eagles to run. How quick will the Eagle fly? So Darren McFarland has been and gone. This is Daryl Hutton running and gunning for home now as we get into the final corner. Under the 5-stone banner, he hooks it round, and it's a 57-0.
Hamish, boat seems to be going a lot better than it has been.
Yeah, we've got the handling pretty well sorted out. We're sort of running a bit of a disadvantage on the other guys that we're about 150 horsepower down on them, so we're just really concentrating on getting as much speed out of the boat as we can and trying to keep it nice to drive, but it's always a bit of a compromise because nice handling doesn't go with good speed.
Boy, one thing about the Gisborne Jet Sprinting track, not only is it a great place for racing, these guys know how to throw a party, man. Everybody's dancing, having a good time here. Here we go, Hamish Pride. He is the former New Zealand champion with the Stinger hull, and he's been around for quite some time now. As you heard in the interview, he lacks about 150 horsepower, but what he tries to do is make it up a driving finesse by cutting the corners just as tight as possible. You know, he's very happy to be into the 8s and probably feeling going to be pretty lucky to make it into the 4, being down on power a little bit. It is Hamish Pride, the former New Zealand champion, trying to make it as far into the field as he can.
Well, it's the old firm are back together. Hamish Pride, Robbie Mayhead, the 97 national champions. He designed and helped build this track, so you should know, like back to that big bobble there, and that's time going away. They've been running in the 57s. I don't know if that's going to be good enough. They'll be chasing something in the 56s, hopefully, to make it through. It is so competitive in this international Group A class where you've got the best of the best. New Zealand, Australia, and the United States gunning for home now. Pride hooks it round. It's a 57-62.
Back from break and back into the water as we continue on with the top 8 rounds of elimination for World Series Jet Sprinting at the Gisborne Aqua Track. It is the Opiki Spud, the potato farmer, Simon Campbell. This is the guy that picked up on a second place at the Manfield Aqua Track in fielding on the rounds of eliminations, in the rounds of competition, that is, for World Series Jet Sprinting. A lot of people said this may be the man to do it, but Chris Monroe has been giving this guy fits, with Chris Monroe picking up on the win. Now, everybody so far, the field of 8, has been in the 57-second range, and I think we're going to see our first 56, possibly even quicker than that, with Simon Campbell. Keep your eye on the clock. Here we go. Looking to do better than a 32:34 in the split time, and it will show 32:02.
Well, he's picked it up by 0.3 of a second, and I'll go with you, Jack, to go into the 56s, because this is the man, the young gun from Opiki, and he goes faster with every round. That he gets quicker and quicker, slicker and slicker, and at the sharp end of the day, the point end of the day, he is always there. Will today be the six? Are we going to see the first 56? Yes, 56.91. Campbell will be happy. We go into a new bracket.
Do you think you can make the 2, or is the 4 your limit?
I believe the way the engine's running at the moment, I believe the 4 will be my limit. Yeah, Chris or Peter would have to make a mistake to let me through, and there's still guys improving there, and but hey, nothing's over till the fat lady sings. You know how it is. I thought I was pretty good last weekend, but didn't turn out, did it?
You know, we've said it before, we'll say it again, there is nothing more impressive than the onboard camera shot when you get to World Series Jet Sprinting. And here comes Brian Smith and Rhonda Smith. Help me, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda. And you heard what Brian said earlier. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. Well, we don't see anybody warming up right now. He knows he's going to be able to make it to the 4s, but maybe not any further than that. Brian and Rhonda Smith.
This is the Haviland Shotgun Sprinter hull, the only one of its kind in New Zealand, and this is the most experienced international Group A crew. They've been there, done that. The Sprinter's going to tell the story. Remember Campbell, the 32.02, and Smith, he's been in the 57s. We're talking 56s to progress, and he's up at the sprint.
With a 31.71 split time for Brian and Rhonda Smith. He's very confident he's going to be able to make it. Right now, it is McFarland sitting on the bubble to the 57.67, but Hamish Pride isn't too far behind with 5/100ths of a second. To the finish line we go for the Smith family, and it's going to show close, 57.10, and McFarland's on the trailer.
Can you make the 4? I think I got an extra second left in there, so I'm thinking I can make the 4 as long as I can. I made a couple more adjustments to the boat just now, and hoping that it'll make it better and take another second off.
Maxwell. Jason Maxwell should be next out.
Here comes the whiz kid from America in the United States Sprint Boat Association. This guy just flat tears it up in America, but running a little bit of a different combination. This is not the boat that he brought down from America. What he brought down, the red, white, and blue stars and stripes flame job boat, is on the trailer right now because they couldn't get it to work right. It was a brand spanking new experimental boat, so this is going to be a borrowed boat for Jason Maxwell, and he's got to get himself into the very high 57s or the high 56s, or the low 57s if he has a chance to go on into the Final Four with a 31.35 on the split time.
Well, he's been in the 56s, but he's got to do it this time. That is history.
So Hamish Pride right now is at 57.62, the man that is on the bubble. Boy, look at that thing jump around. He can't get this boat to sit down any better than his experimental one. And a bad dash to the finish line. It's going to be a 56.83.
56 point.
The picture on the boat, you can't tell from this angle, but it's a boxing kangaroo. Peter Shearer and Greg Holton, we are ready to attack the track again. Gisborne Group A World Series Jet Sprinting. This is the man that early on, a lot of people said would probably be the World Series Jet Sprinting champion, but with real bad luck in America, they are way down in the field trying to make it up today on the speed track here, the Aqua Track at Gisborne, North Island, New Zealand.
Well, we look at him and he is absolutely going for it. He's playing chase me, catch me if you can at the moment, because Shearer, he's out to make up for the earlier disappointments. And right now, Matilda is waltzing big time. 30.27 at the sprint, sensational.
30:27 on the split time. This is going to be the fastest pass, and Hutton is on the bubble at 57.20. Watch what happens with Peter Shearer. He's going to lay down the fast pass, maybe even a 56, maybe even 55. To the finish line we go for Peter Shearer, 55.38. Oh, they are going to be so happy with that one.
You and Peter Shearer, you're pretty close. Peter's still confident. Are you confident?
Oh, yeah, no, I think we can push a bit harder yet. Yeah, Pete's pretty quick, but we'll see what happens, I suppose.
What time's going to win it?
A 54, I'd say. There's one there.
You reckon there's a 54
there? Yeah, I think
there?
it's 54 there, yeah. We'll just push a wee bit harder. Yeah, into the corners, and yeah, the boat will hold on, we'll be right.
Well, you heard Chris Monroe. He says the track will hold a 54. Is this going to be the 54 pass? He doesn't need it right now. All he's got to do is get at least a 57.09, put Brian Smith on the trailer, and he'll go to the Final Four. But then again, this is Chris Monroe. He wants to throw the gauntlet down, let everybody know that he is the man to beat. After a spectacular pass at the Aqua Track, the Manfield Aqua Track in Fielding, everybody's saying, well, you know, this truly is now the man to beat. Watch this here on the split time. Is he going to be able to pull off a 54-second once and for all on this track like he says? Look at that, at 30.52 on the split time.
Well, he's up 1.19 over the man. He's got to knock out the competition, but he is behind Shearer. So we got the charge of the Mike Brigade on. New Zealand's Southern man running and gunning. Wants the psychological edge as he heads for home.
Keep your eye on the clock. Brian Smith is going to be on the trailer. He's at a 57.10. Going to be much, much faster than that to the finish line. It's a 55.34 for Chris Monroe. I think next time out we will see a 54-second pass. Woo! Great action going on here with the field of 8. We now have 4: Simon Campbell, Jason Maxwell, Peter Shearer, and Chris Monroe. More action. We'll be back right after this with World Series Jet Sprinting in Gisborne. World Series Jet Sprinting, Gisborne Aqua Track, North Island, New Zealand, and rocking in the background with 3 Dog Night and Joy to the World. And that's probably what Simon Campbell is thinking right now. He's joy to the world as well because he is into the Final Four with the Opiki Spud, able to get a second place to Chris Monroe at Fielding on the Manfield Aqua Track. Everything up to this point with the rounds of qualifying and the rounds of elimination, we're down to 4 boats. None of the times of the past mean anything. We now set new times and new marks.
Well, we chased the split, and this is another of the boats that is down on horsepower against the big guns, but it shows what a race package does. We come to split 31.61. He's got it on the board. So Campbell, can he go quicker and slicker? He's been in the 56s. He'll be chasing that again. Maybe are we going to see a 55, but that would be pushing the boundaries. But Simon Campbell, oh so smooth. Just watch his lines. He goes with the flow. So smooth, so good. Hooks it round, heading for home. And the Opiki potato farmer peels off another one with a 56.62.
Jason, we're getting down to it now. Can you do it?
Yeah, we are. I think we could probably maybe take a second off. Last round we had quite a bit of hop around the track. Just have to try to be a little bit smoother. See what we can come up with. Give it the beans.
So for Jason Maxwell, not real comfortable because he's running a borrowed boat. The boat that they built in America specific for the New Zealand Challenge did not work out. So with a borrowed boat, he is struggling a little bit, getting way too much hopping and skipping in the water, especially coming across his wake. Love to shave an extra second off if he can.
Well, only 2 practice runs pre-meet, Jack, so very little setup time, and that might be showing that Jason Maxwell from the United States of America, he needs more time on the water in this New Zealand boat, running his engine, but it's a bit of a different ballgame.
And here comes a split time for Jason Maxwell. Take a look at this at 30.91. He is pushing it with an unfamiliar boat. And to the finish line, he's going to make the jaunt. He's got to get in there much faster than the 56.62 to possibly get him into the finals. If all possible. Oh, no! He's still running. He's still on a chance. Oh, no! It is all over for Jason Maxwell. And as you can see, he comes around, he starts hopping and skipping across the water. He says, okay, I can pull this thing out. He spins it around, and there is the island. And the island reaches out and bites him.
Is there much more left out there?
Maybe half a second, a little bit lower. A lot of it, the engine's as hard as it'll go, but it is my driving. I'm just washing too much speed off in certain corners.
making any changes to the boat from here to the end?
No, going to leave it the way it is. We're clear of everyone else at the moment, Chris and I, so I'll just leave it the way it is.
Well, one person that's probably happier than anybody else right now is going to be Simon Campbell. He dodged a bullet there from Jason Maxwell. To the track we go with Simon Campbell now watching the action with Peter Shearer, because Simon is on the bubble, and Peter Shearer and Chris Monroe have been the two that have been, I guess by definition, the hottest today and the most consistent. Peter Shearer, after that really bad series throughout the American states, looking to redeem himself down under here in New Zealand on the Gisborne Aqua Track, North Island, New Zealand. Take a look at the split time coming up. Look at there at 30:28, big time.
That's only 100th of a second slower than his previous run when he was in the 55. So he's running and gunning the Polaris, the Melbourne Missile, and Shearer is really having a great day on the fastest water on the Sun City Aqua Track. As we run and gun home, Campbell on a 56.62. He wants to be below that. We count it down, and Shearer, this is a quick and slicker with a 54.61. And that's 2 seconds quicker than Campbell.
Well, there's that 54-second pass of Chris Monroe, so that the track will happen, but it wasn't Chris Monroe that did it, it was Peter Shearer. So we are now down to at least a Simon Campbell-Peter Shearer final. And of course, it depends on what happens with this pass with Chris Monroe. Is that a great shot or what? On board with World Series Jet Sprinting at the Gisborne Aqua Track for Group A World Series Jet Sprinting competition. Chris Monroe, this is the guy that won it all on the Aqua Track, the Mayfield Aqua Track in fielding. He said the track will hold a 54. He may pull off another one. Look at the split time.
Look at that, Jack. He's heading towards the final 8/10 up over Simon Campbell, but he's behind Shearer. So Shearer right now is leader of the pack, and Monroe has to run and gun. He's got to go for it big time. New Zealand's Southern men. They hook it round the left hand. A great onboard shot.
54.61, the pass for Peter Shearer. Watch this. He's going to try and drop it down a little bit faster if he can. To the finish line, 55.03. Didn't happen. Advantage goes Peter Shearer into the finals. Whew, what a great day of competition. So Shearer on top of the 54.61. Chris Monroe, 55.08. Simon Campbell and Jason Maxwell on the trailer. And back to the action we go. We now have 2 boats remaining. Chris Monroe will lay down one time only, and that is the make it or break it time, the chase me, catch me if you can time for Peter Shearer. What a beautiful day for racing. Look at the blue sky in the background, the onboard camera. World Series Jet Sprinting for Group A. Chris Monroe, can he make it another win? After picking up on the win at the Manfield Aqua Track in fielding. To the split time we go. Chris Monroe. There it is, 30.64.
Well, that's a couple of tenths quicker than his last run, Jack, but is it going to be enough? Because Shearer was quicker than that, but he's got to come yet. So Monroe, he's the man who's going to set the time in Kawara Jet. Sitting alongside regular navigator Tony Carter as we head for home. A couple of corners to go round this big left-hand sweeper under the Firestone banner. It is. That's the same as his last run.
First half I thought was quite smooth, but I seem to have lost in the second half, so I'll try to improve on the second half this time and get a perfect run.
Feeling the pressure?
Oh, a little bit, but I'm very confident.
Okay, here we go.
Chris Monroe running like a bracket racer in the world of drag racing, back-to-back 55.03s. So now that he's laid down the 55.03, he's standing on the shoreline watching the action of Peter Shearer. Catch me if you can. Can the track hold another 54-second pass like Peter Shearer did? In just a matter of seconds, we will find out if this is going to be a first or second position pass.
It's either going to be gold or silver, Big Jack, and we're going to remember that Monroe hasn't gone into the 54s. He's done 2 55.08s in a row, and this man, Peter Shearer, the Melbourneian, has been in the 54s. That's what he needs again, as now he can sniff victory.
Is that a great shot or what? On-board camera shot for World Series Jet Sprinting at 55.03. That's the time that we are chasing for Peter Shearer. The boxing glove kangaroo has guided him to the finish line. And we are so close, 55.03 or not. It will show 54.84. Win goes Peter Shearer. The Australians are going to be happy campers. So at the conclusion of the New Zealand Open in Gisborne, round number 5 for Group A, Peter Shearer with yet another 54-second pass.
Chris, almost, not quite.
Yeah, no, we just couldn't quite pull it off there at the end. We sort of battled all day with the fuel problem, and then in the end it was still surging, and yeah, just didn't quite have it.
Hey, you did it.
Yeah, very happy with the way it went. I didn't think I'd get into the 54. I thought I'd get low 55s, but we did. The last couple of runs were smooth, and I was very, very happy.
Feeling pressure?
I did. I wasn't feeling the best in the top 8. I sort of had to hop out the boat and walk around, but yeah, I just got a grip of it, and it was good.
World Series Jetsprinting New Zealand Open, Gisborne, round number 5. The Shearer's on his way back up at the top 4. Teresa Parrish, Brian Smith, Andrew Dalzell, and on top of the points right now with 137, Chris Monroe. On behalf of Russell Harris, I'm Big Jack Armstrong for World Series Jetsprinting. Thanks for being with us.
From the Jetsprint track in Gisborne, it's off to Pukekohe in 2008. It's the Formula Junior race from the Tasman Revival meeting.
Formula Junior are celebrating their Golden Jubilee, 50 years of existence. That's why there was a huge international field here at Pukekohe Park Raceway for the Historic Racing Club's Revival meeting.
Formula Junior first started in 1958 in Italy, mainly using Italian cars, and went worldwide in the end. And essentially, Formula Juniors were, well, there was no Formula 2 at the time, so it was a stepping stone to Formula 1 from Formula Junior. So a lot of drivers, like Dennis Holm, started off in Formula Junior. Rodriguez's, yeah, a lot of the Formula 1 drivers at that time drove Formula Junior first of all.
Well, amazingly, there are over 40 cars on the grid here for the classic cover Formula Junior Race 2 here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. And these guys really do race these cars. Some of them are absolute museum pieces, but boy, oh boy, once the guys come down to the grid, the red mist comes down and they are racing from the get-go. Watch out for Jonathan Williamson there from Perth, Australia in the Lotus. And also Peter Strauss from Australia. We've got them from Australia. We've got them from the United States of America, from the United Kingdom, from Denmark, from Germany. They've come from miles around to be here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. It's a round of their 50-year celebrations. From here, they'll go on to Australia and then on through South Africa and then back up to Europe to continue what has been a year of celebration. And that's the reason that the grids are so full. Normally in a club day situation you might get 5 or 6 Formula Juniors from all around New Zealand, but here we have nearly 40 of these amazing motor vehicles, and they really are something special. The class started back in 1958 in Italy, as you heard Nigel Russell say, and well, it had a bit of a lull with the popularity of Formula 1, but as you can see for yourself, plenty of cars out there, plenty of people ready to race them, and this man's certainly racing it. This is John Chisholm in the Gemini Mark 3A from the UK. And then in that battle as well as John Rapley in the Brabham BT2 from Paraparaumu. He'd be the best of the Kiwis at the moment. He's number 316. Number 70 is Bob Burrell. Now he's been charged with putting this mammoth task together of getting this international celebration underway. But at the moment, the man who'll be celebrating, if they put the flag out now, would be car number 85, John Chisholm in the Gemini. And as I said before, these guys really do race. Peter Strauss there from Australia is in it. So too Rapley, Bob Burrell we mentioned. Roger England in the Lotus 18 from Australia, car number 57. And listen to that sweet-sounding Gemini as he goes up over the top of Ford Mounted. Oh, some problems there for car number 2. And that is Graham Brown, another one of the Australians in the Brabham BT2. No damage to the car, no damage to Graham. He'll get back onto the circuit and be on his way. Of course, he'll be looking forward to home soil when the travelling circus that is the Formula Junior 50-year celebration heads to Australia. 57 there, Roger England sitting in 5th place. Or more problems here for Lance Cardwine from Perth in the McEntee Formula Junior. He's pulled it off and he's getting out of it, so his race is done. This is the mid-pack battle, if you like. Oh, and a real problem there, and that's a high-speed accident coming off the top of Ford Mountain. And probably one of the older cars in the field has come to grief, and we'll have a look at that when we can. Meantime, the race at the front continues. It is still car number 85 in the front. There's John Chisholm. Looks like Jonathan Williamson's got his way up into 2nd place now in the Lotus, in the traditional British racing green. But it is Chisholm in the Gemini Mark 3A from the UK. There is Williamson sitting in 2nd place over Ford Mountain, and the gap is starting to close down a bit. Well, in 1958, when Johnny Lurani coined this class, I'm sure he didn't think that they'd still be racing as hard as they are here. All those years later at Pukekohe Park Raceway in Auckland, the safety car out on the course, and that'll be for that incident up off the Ford Mountain. Haven't had a report yet on the condition of either the car or the driver. Hopefully both are okay. Millions of dollars worth of machinery here. And you talk to some of these guys and they just drive the wheels off them. So the BMW safety car will concertina the field up, and that's bad news for John Chisholm because it means his lead is now vanished. Jonathan Williamson sits in 2nd place, 26 in there as well as Peter Strauss from Australia in the Brabham. Then it's the best of the New Zealanders, and that's John Rapley. 70 in there, Bob Burrell. We mentioned him. He's the man from the UK that is the coordinator of the series. Racing again here at Pukekohe Park Raceway in front of a huge crowd, getting their money's worth here with the Formula Junior and, of course, the Revival Series for the 5000s. It's like you've stepped back into a time machine. And the big mover is Jonathan Williamson trying to get up around the outside of Strauss to move into 2nd place. Hasn't been able to do it yet. Still Chisholm in the front, through the S as he goes and out into Castrol. So certainly a battle of the brands out there, the Gemini in the front of the Lotus and the Brabhams. And that may all change here under braking. Look at Williamson just looking left, looking right. Oh, and there's a big lock up there, and I think it was car number 20. It was, in fact, number 53, Williamson, that locked up. But he's made amends for it. He's got through onto the racing line, I think, has he? They're wheel to wheel again as they come up over the top. Will Williamson be in 2nd place? When we get a good look at him, I think he will be. But still, it is 85. Chisholm in the front. Lap starting to run down here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. The classic cover, Formula Juniors, started off in 1958. Went into a bit of a recession when Formula One went up to 1.5-litre engines. This class originally came about to make it an affordable class of motor racing. But with the demise of the old Formula 3, and as I said, when the Formula 1s changed their engine configuration, it sort of made these little guys a bit redundant. But you can see for yourself, they still certainly provide some fantastic racing. Race leader, all on his own. Back into the hairpin braking area once again for the UK's John Chisholm. This would be on either an 1100cc or a 1500cc power plant in that car. It all depended on the weight of the vehicle. Such was the control of the regulations. And Formula Junior was the first class that ever decided to use roll cages. So all these drivers in the relative safety of the earlier roll cages. Chisholm still leads it. 2nd place now looks like it's Williamson, Strauss, Rapley, Burrell, Eland, John Chisholm, Ned Spiker. Now he's an interesting man with a Brabham BT6 from California. He is the track manager at Laguna Seca. So he lives, breathes and works racing cars. But this man's working hard and he's still in the front. John Chisholm in the Gemini. Is he going to be run down here in the closing stages? Williamson starting to make a move. He dives to the outside under braking for the hairpin. Now cut the apex of the turn and try and drive up the inside of Chisholm. And that's exactly what he does in a roundabout fashion, and now tries to go up around the outside. They nearly flat wheel, come together as they work their way around the left-hander, but it's still Chisholm in the front. 53, John Williamson start to run out of racetrack here, and the checkered flag will come out and it will fall to John Chisholm. In second place it will be number 53, John Williamson. Then it'll be Peter Strauss and John Rapley. Now the officials have told us that Chisholm has been assessed a time penalty for jumping the start, so it means Williamson wins the Formula Juniors. So this is race 2 of the Formula Juniors. You're on board here with Roger Herrick in car number 11, and that is Tarasashi Formula Junior out of Auckland. And the only penance really they pay to modern day safety is in their driver's suit, their gloves and their helmets. As I said before, Formula Junior, the first class to instigate roll bars, but they're pretty rudimentary roll bars by today's exacting standards. But as I said earlier, what a treat to have all these wonderful cars here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. And once again, we've got a real race on our hands here. Peter Strauss got up into second place in the first race. Now leads this one, Williamson back in second place. And it looks like David Reed, their number 18 in the Cooper, up into third as we've got another one heading to the grass. Oh, and somebody's slowing dramatically as they come out of the left-hander and head towards the Ford Mountain once again. Now these cars had to use production brakes from day one. And as I told you, the engine size is governed by the overall weight of the machine. In fact, in the old days, the British-built Elva ran either the BMC Mini-type engine or a DKW two-stroke engine. So this big pack thunders down into Jenny and Holmes, the first turn here at Pukekohe. You're on board with Roger Herrick. As he just concedes a spot as they go into the S's. Manual gearboxes, of course, drum brakes. Car's surprisingly quick though, lapping it around about, well the top ones anyway, around about the 1 minute 12 around Pukekohe. And that's quite comparable to a modern day car, and it's faster than one of the new BMW Minis in the Mini Challenge. Now that red dot ahead of Herrick is Clive Wilson as we go back to the front of this field, and it's Peter Strauss and the Brabham in the front, Jonathan Williamson in second now. There is the 53 of Williamson, and I think it might be Ned Spiker in third place in the Brabham BT6 from California in the USA. That's the white car, but it is the, well, nearly British Racing green car of Peter Strauss leading with the gold nose cone. The bright yellow nose cone is the Lotus 22 FJ of another man from Australia, and that is Jonathan Williamson. Now, he won the previous race, remember, when Chisholm was relegated for a jump start. But he just can't quite find a way around Peter Strauss in this one. And they battled long and hard in the previous race as well. And it is Spiker through in third. Had a chance to talk to him in the break between races, and I asked him what it was like working at Laguna Seca, and he said it's a fantastic job for a motoring enthusiast. I also asked him if he'd had the Formula Junior down the Dipper, and he said he had. I said, what was it like? He said it was like falling off an 8-storey building. That's the comment from the man in third place, diving down the inside now. Race leader, though, still Peter Strauss. Jonathan Williamson can't do anything about it. Someone heading off onto the infield, and I think that is John Chisholm. It's gone and stopped just by the exit of the pit lane. Well, you get the feeling that Jonathan Williamson will be getting sick of seeing the gearbox of Peter Strauss. Bill Hemming there from Melbourne in the Alphin. Preparation on these cars has got to be seen to be believed as well. You can see there from that shot what I meant by a rudimentary roll cage. It's only just above the helmet height. So number 26 now all on his own, so we've had a problem maybe for Jonathan Williamson. We'll catch up on that as they all start getting into the lap traffic now. There is the 26. Now where has 53 Jonathan Williamson gone? Number 2, we saw him have problems earlier on. Graham Brown and the Brabham just moves out of the way for his fellow countryman Peter Strauss. Just looking for the yellow nose cone of Jonathan Williamson, and I can't see it at the moment. There is the race leader. That is Peter Strauss from Australia, so it's going to be an Australian 1-2, I think, here. Williamson has cut his way through the lap traffic, and I think he's reasserted himself back in second place as we watch the leader through the left-hander and up over the Ford Mountain once again. And he is lapping in the 112s. Last lap out, and now Williamson's about to mount another challenge here by the look of it. Maybe he was just a little bit more comfortable than he thought, and he's backed off a little. Well, he can't afford to do that now because Jonathan Williamson, whatever was slowing him down, and I can only imagine that it was probably getting his way through the lap traffic, he's now right on the gearbox of Peter Strauss once again. Here they are into the hairpin for the last time. Williamson tries to get on the outside. Big lock-up from both of them. That's how hard they're trying. The cars will be screaming out for a rest. The drivers are probably doing the same because none of these drivers in these Formula Junior cars are young men anymore. But age doesn't come into it when you're racing, and that's what these two guys are doing. Peter Strauss on the Brabham holds on to a fast-finishing Jonathan Williamson, and Williamson draws alongside, but I don't think he's quite got enough. He hasn't, and Strauss will get the win in the Brabham BT6. Makes up for his second place in race number 1. Second place will be Jonathan Williamson, and then it's California's Ned Spiker. Fourth place will be John Rapley, and Bob Burrell from England is fifth.
We've had four-wheel action on a racetrack. Now it's back to two-wheel action, this time from the streets of Whanganui. It's 2006 and it's race 1 and 2 of the Formula 2 600cc bikes.
For over 50 years now, the historic river city of Whanganui has come to a virtual standstill on Boxing Day. The reason? Thousands upon thousands of bike fans converge on the bottom of town for the annual cemetery circuit races. For 2005, the scene was the same. Sangyo-sponsored event brought a top field of international and local riders. Among them, last year's sensation, Craig Shirreffs.
There's a lot more high level of competition here this year than what we had last year. Like Brian's got some fast Aussie lads here, and Sean's brought over Guy Martin from the UK, and Straddy's turned up this year as well, and he's never slow anywhere he goes. So plus there's Jared here as well, you know, so he goes good around here too. So I think this year's going to be pretty hard, but we're ready.
Guy, you've had a chance to have a look at the cemetery circuit. What do you think?
Yeah, it's different. It's you know, I race in the stuff in Ireland, and it's a bit more, it's road racing, but it's like roads out in the country, you know, it's not like through a town itself, so it's interesting. I like it, I enjoy it, you know, it's more or less the same sort of stuff as what it is in Ireland, you know, stop and go and then a bit of bumpy stuff, so yeah, it's good.
Well, it's been a difficult learning curve for Guy Martin. Let's see how he does here. This is race 1 for Formula Whanganui here at the cemetery circuit for 2005, and into the front goes Andrew Stroud. Once again, I'm joined in commentary by Paul Pavlin. It's a man that has won in every class possible here on the cemetery circuit, so he knows every inch of this 1 mile track.
And boy, do I love this track, Phil. It's just amazing. You've really got to get a great start here because it's so tight and twisty, and you've got to be a champion under brakes, otherwise you're going to get dispatched backwards.
Well, the man that has got a great start is Andrew Stroud as they work their way through the S's and up in towards the Robert Holden corner for the first of 8 times. Pressure coming on from number 69, Jared Love, on the 1000cc Honda, and Craig Shirreffs goes up the inside of Love, and I think he might have moved into second place, or maybe I've spoken a little bit too soon, Paul.
Yeah, he took the high wide line. He really needs to get some good drive on that little 600. He's got to carry a lot more cornering speed around here.
Well, 1 lap down, and it's Andrew Stroud in the front as they work their way into the Repco corner. 69, Jared Love has a look down the inside. Stroud just left the door open there, Pav, and Jared Love was through.
Wow, Stroudy was caught napping then, wasn't it? That looked really easy.
So the front two on 1000cc machines. The guys we should be watching for are the blokes further down in the pack with the yellow number plates, especially number 56. That's Craig Shirreffs, and he was the fastest thing on 2 wheels here last year. In fact, they left Whanganui heading for Pyro in the second and final race in the Battle of the Streets, tied with the man that leads this race, and that's Jared Love.
Well, I'm pretty sure a 600's the bike to have around here. They're only averaging 70 mile an hour. It's not fast. These big 1000cc machines, you'll be lucky to get into 3rd gear.
It's interesting you say that, Paul, because I talked to Andrew Stroud after the qualifying, and they had to change the gearing on his K5 Suzuki to make him use 3rd gear. He was going around here, okay, it's only a 1 mile round, but he was going around here in 2nd gear.
If you look closely, you can see some thin black lines. There you go. A lot of that's just wheel spin coming out of the corners. They're so powerful.
So let's catch up with what's happening at the front of this field. 69 Love in the front. Then it's one, the brother Suzuki of Andrew Stroud. Then it's the Haldane Suzuki, the 600cc Suzuki of Craig Sheriffs. And that is a stock standard 600 production bike. Last year he came here with a hot rod machine. He brought the bike with him, but he decided he would ride the stocker. And that's what he's doing. And he's doing a fantastic job here, Pav, because he's keeping these guys on the thousands more than honest.
He sure is. He's 70 horsepower down as well. That just shows you.
Craig Sheriffs from Fielding currently sits in third place as they go across the stripe again and down the Jenny and Holmes front straight. Andrew Stroud in the front. First time Andrew's been at Whanganui for 4 years. Normally a family man, likes to spend the time over Christmas with his family. This time he decided he'd come racing.
Haven't these Aussie boys done well? They've really adapted to these street circuits well. I don't know a whole lot of Australian road circuits, but boy, they've come out guns blazing here.
Well, the simple fact is there aren't a whole lot of Australian road circuits for motorbikes. Number C, Scott Charlton. Number S behind him, Chris Seaton. And then it is Jason McEwen. And isn't it fantastic to see Jason McEwen back? He's been doing the rounds of the Ssangyong Road Racing Championship. 18 months ago, there was probably real doubt whether he'd ever ride a motorbike again.
I've never seen him looking so fit either. It's just a remarkable recovery. It just shows you the determination of Jason McEwen.
So this race for 4th, 5th and 6th. As we concentrate on it, down the front straight they come once again. Charlton on a 1000cc machine with the white number plate. The S is Chris Seaton, all part of the Brian Bernard Racing Ssangyong Suzuki team. This is the battle at the front of the field, and it's starting to get a little bit juicy, Paul, because Craig Sheriffs is starting to put on the pressure here. It's still the thousands in the front. Who's going to go over the railway line first? It'll be number 1, Andrew Stroud, up through the Suzuki turn and heading toward the cemetery now.
That's a seriously hard place to pass over those railway lines because it disturbs the front end. You get the big shake on, so you want to make the pass long before those bumps.
Out of the Robert Holden turn they come, heading up Guyton Street and now turning into Ridgeway. It's still Stroud in the front.
Big long legs sticking out. He's 6'2". It's quite a tall guy.
Well, already we're going to see the lap traffic have a little bit of a say in this one. That's moved Tangaroa from Whanganui, trying to find a clean way to get out of the way, and it means that Craig Sheriffs has got up into 2nd place, so maybe a problem there for Jared Love. He drops well back.
You could be having brake problems. This is really difficult on your machine here under brakes. They don't get a time to cool down because it's short spurts between corners.
Well, that's right. It's only 1 mile around, 1.6 kilometres. And things happen very, very quickly indeed. Stroud in the front, Sheriff right in behind him. Another one that's going to play a part in this one. I think that's Barry Long on the Ducati from Palmerston North. He gets out of the way as the 2 front runners negotiate the Robert Holden Memorial turn. Now they head up into the Vesra overbridge.
I actually think that Stroud is holding Sheriffs up under the corners. That 600's carrying more cornering speed. Oh, brush the hay bales.
Well, 1 lap to go, and if Craig Sheriffs is going to do it, it's going to have to be in this lap, as you said, Paul, using all the track and then a little bit more. Brushes the hay bale as they work their way through Repco Corner, now down into Bridgestone and out along the Taupo Quay.
Oh, I just hope these lap riders don't play a part in it.
Kevin Geard's been around for a long time, so he'll do the sensible thing and just drift to the outside of the racetrack and get out of the way of these guys. Andrew Stroud, he hasn't been back here for 4 years. It's great to see the past New Zealand Superbike champion back, but he's got a tiger on his tail in the form of Craig Sheriffs. Sheriffs drifts to the outside. Is he going to set him up for the inside-outside pass? He does so, and as they go through the Kawasaki curve, it's a new race leader in the form of Fielding's Craig Sheriffs is going to hold on to it as they go over the bridge, and he'll see the checkered flag first. Opportune time to make the pass. Nothing Stroud can do about it. Craig Sheriffs wins race number 1 of Formula Whanganui. In 2nd place it was Andrew Stroud, and in 3rd Jared Love. 4th place went to the Australian Chris Seaton, and in 5th it was Jason McEwen from Sanson. 6th place another Australian, Scott Charlton.
Made some huge improvements with the bike this year, and it's hooking up too good. It's doing wheelies everywhere, and it feels real strong. So yeah, it's a case of slowing down to get faster at the moment.
The focus this year for you, the streets again or the road racing?
Definitely, I like the streets. It evens it out. We sort of struggle for setup and horsepower sometimes, so the streets evens everything out. It comes down to rider on the day, so give it a big strangle up and you'll win.
Always a crowd pleaser at Whanganui or any of the street circuits are the super motards. This one brought to you by Lindsay Tate and Associates, and a big field, and Stephen Briggs is in there, but it's Briggs that's gone down in the first straightaway by the look of it. So some real problems for the man that rules the roost in super motards. So no number 8 there at the moment. That means it's 95 Craig Flood that goes out into the front. And if you're watching our coverage from last year, you'll know the story with Craig Flood. He rode a CRF 450 Honda, had the debut ride here at Whanganui, hit the hay bales, knocked himself a bit senseless, and the bike burst into flames and burnt to the ground. This is his XR 650, and he's back.
Yeah, well, that's a shame too, because Stephen Briggs has just fitted a brand new clutch to that bike, so maybe he's put it in incorrectly. I'm not sure, but very unlike him.
So it is number 107, Jonathan Hamlin through in second place. By the look of it, there's been a change as we speak, because now it's number 32, Brendan Stevenson on the VOR from Danneberg. Last year, Stevenson on a 600cc KTM, so he's changed bikes.
Sure is. It's great to see more manufacturers getting involved. This is a great class, you know. It's a cheap way to come road racing, and it's a beautiful home for 1 and 2 and 3-year-old motocross bikes.
Well, and it's a well-recognised class. As you said, it's the perfect class in New Zealand, and of course now it runs a fully fledged World Championship, 3 different classes over in Europe. There is some talk about bringing a race meeting to Australia in the not-too-distant future, and then, well, it's only across the Tasman to New Zealand.
It's really taking off too in the country, down country. It's very, very big grids. I just love seeing this. It's something for the future.
It's an exciting form of racing, there's no doubt about that, as we watch Craig Flood and Brendan Stevenson working their way up towards the... Oh, very sideways there for number 32, Brendan Stevenson on the VOR. Plenty of power from the big 4-stroke, and you saw it there.
Yeah, he certainly gassed it up early, didn't he? He's in second gear there. It spun the wheel and nearly flicked him out of the seat.
Look how hard Craig Flood's trying, getting as aerodynamic as possible as they head down into the Repco corner once again. Down through the gearbox goes Stevenson.
It's been great watching Stephen Briggs. He's really taught these how to back them into the corners, hasn't he?
Well, you know, before we get back into racing, I've got an apology to make, because it said in my program that he was on a VOR. I'd stake my life on the fact that Brendan Stevenson on a KTM is the man in second place.
Well, one thing for sure, it's going to be a big 4-stroke single, Phil.
Absolutely. 107 is Jonathan Hamlin on the Bikes Direct Honda from Whanganui, so the locals will have something to cheer about, and there are thousands upon thousands of people lining the streets here at Whanganui. Probably the biggest crowd we've seen here for 10 years, I'd say, Paul.
Oh, so Ssangyong too, I take my hat off to them. They really have got them behind road racing this year. It's just fantastic.
That is the style of one of the best supermotard riders in the country. And battles within battles further down through the field. Watching out there for number 23. That's Paul Brown on the Husserberg.
And Brendan Coe too. He's making his way through the field on the KTM. He's flying. There he is, number 5.
Well, Coe's an ex-road racer, and that's the perfect mix. A bit of road race, a bit of motocross, and you're the perfect setup to be a supermotard rider.
He's not a bad motocrosser either. I've seen him out at Ardmore. He's pretty quick.
Number 107, Jonathan Hamlin, one of the locals on the Bikes Direct Honda 450. Well, this battle heats up there. Paul Brown trying to hold out Brendan Coe, and look at these battles right in behind them. Just a freight train of these big single-cylinder 4-strokes. They changed the suspension a little bit. They changed the brakes as well.
He messed that up. He messed that up big time, Phil. He went in there way too deep, and the back end was snaking. It was all over the place.
So this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th on your screen, number 5, and that is Brendan Coe.
Whoa, that's a biggie!
And it looks like a Suzuki that's gone down as they come over the Vespa Bridge. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Oh, and the red flags come out, Paul.
Yep, that's a real shame.
So the race is declared, and it means that Craig Flood gets the win from Brendan Stevenson and Jonathan Hamlin through in 3rd place. 4th was Paul Brown, and in 5th it was Toby Summers.
Well, you got to ride around here like you're on 1,000, even though you're on a 600. And yeah, I think we'll probably be closer to the superbikes than we are at most other tracks because of that fact. Because you don't even get out 3rd gear on these things. So
that's what they're saying.
Yeah, it's definitely important to squirt.
All right, who do you rate as your opposition today?
In the 600, Craig Sheriff's going to be the man. Yeah, so he's probably going to be out there in the superbike as well. So he's going to be the boy, I think.
Well, the 600s get underway, and the man to beat's got to be number 56, Craig Sheriff. We saw him dominate in the Formula 1 race at Whanganui on the 600 machine. Now the bikes alongside him are very even. Derek McAdam there as well, Paul. One guy that's missing, though, Sam Smith. What's the story with that?
Well, his miners have taken him out of this event, and they're going to keep him to the road, to the race circuits, and focus on the national championship. And that's probably a wise thing. He's only a young boy. Let him get some miles under his belt in a safer environment first.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Expert comments and opinion coming from Paul Pavletic as we watch this first Formula 2 race, as they call them here on the streets. It's essentially the 600 sports production class, and it's Craig Sheriff's out in the front. Derek McAdam on the Museum Hotel Kawasaki sits in second place, and I think you'll get a glimpse of bike number 30, and that is Troy O'Donoghue from Palmerston North. But we'll check that for you as they come a little bit closer. Over the bridge for the first time and across the stripe, the first of 6, and it is Sheriff's.
Well, it's great to see another brand up here mixing it with the Suzuki's, because Suzuki's have owned Whanganui for a while. They're just so dominant around here. It's incredible.
Number 12 on your screen there is Nick Cole, another youngster with a big future in front of him on the Kawasaki, and behind him it was Troy O'Donoghue.
Craig's on fire, isn't he? He really just is so smooth and fast. Just watch how beautiful his lines are. He's just great to watch.
Well, as we said at the top of the show, you know, it shouldn't really be a surprise. He was a dominant force here last year, and I know that his mechanic Chris Osborne's been in his ear. They've fiddled the bike and they've played with Craig's mind a little bit, and he smoothed him out, and he really does love it here on the streets. He likes to perform in front of a big crowd, and that's what we've got here.
Well, they're going to be happy with his performance today. He really is flying. McAdam too, in the Museum Kawasaki. That's a very powerful motorbike, and it looks strong.
Number S on your screens is Chris Seaton on the Bernard Racing Sangyong Suzuki. Another one of the Australian contingent that's come over here essentially to take away the New Zealand titles, but they haven't found it all their own way. Seaton was a revelation at the road racing rounds, both at Pukekohe and Manfield, but he's struggling a little bit here. Unknown territory for the Aussies, though, Paul. They don't race on the streets.
That's absolutely right. You know, and I've just been so impressed with these Aussie boys. They've been great ambassadors for Australia. They've been so professional. Brian Bernard's done a brilliant job team managing them.
You know, I said he's struggling a bit. Well, the guy behind him is Andrew Stroud, and he just happens to be the 600 Sports Production National Champion.
Andrew must have mucked the start up. He's too good to be back in 5th or 6th place. Look at the back end of that bike bouncing around. It's so important to get your suspension set up on this bumpy circuit.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. What about the handling and the setup of the bike? It must be so crucial. So many point and squirt corners here.
Yeah, you've really got to focus on getting your brakes dialed in perfectly. You know, it's stop, go, second, third gear corners, and brakes are so important.
Well, I said earlier that Andrew Stroud hadn't been to Whanganui for 4 years. I think with the result that this race has delivered him, he'd probably think, why did I ever come back? He is struggling here in the Formula 2.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be back. He's a hardened campaigner. He's a multinational champion. Never write Andrew Stroud off.
You know, I think as we're talking, they're starting to close up the gaps between themselves and Nick Cole and Troy O'Donoghue.
Boy, the lap times are coming down. They're down to 51 flat. That's very fast.
Well, Paul, I know that you were racing when Richard Scott was the first to go under the 50-second mark. Okay, the configuration of the track's changed a little bit since then, but I wonder if we'll see a sub-50-second run here today.
Well, I think so. Craig Sheriff. Whoa, Stroudy, what are you doing? That's quite an unusual mistake by Andrew Stroud.
Well, it's cost him big time too, although he's not going to lose a position. He's lost a lot of time on Chris Seaton. These guys further up ahead of them, Nick Cole and Troy O'Donoghue. Great to see Troy O'Donoghue getting a decent ride on the Honda CBR 600.
I really rate Troy O'Donoghue. You know, he showed brilliant promise when he was a young boy and just sort of faded a little bit. Didn't see much of him, but he's back strong now.
Well, Andrew Stroud currently sitting down in 6th position, so that is uncharacteristic for him. This man, though, at the top of the field as he runs toward the checkered flag. Craig Sheriff is going to make it 2 wins from 2 starts here at Whanganui. Over the bridge he comes, in front of the big crowd, the grandstand here at the Cemetery Circuit. Sheriff gets it done for Haldane, Suzuki and Metzler. In 2nd place, it will be Derek McAdam on the Museum Hotels Kawasaki, and in 3rd place, it was Troy O'Donoghue on the Honda. 4th place went to Nick Cole on another Kawasaki, and in 5th place, the first of the Aussies, that was Chris Seaton. Race number 2 of the Formula Whanganui, brought to you by Sales Motor Group. Now you saw Craig Sheriff takes the first win. Flag ready to drop for this big field of Formula 1 machines, a lot of them production superbikes, and of course Craig Sheriff's on the 600cc machine. Once again we see a fantastic start for bike number 69, and that is Jared Love. Andrew Stroud in there again, and so too is number S. I've been impressed with Chris Seaton on the Bernard Racing Sangyong Suzuki.
Jared Love's been fantastic on the starts today. He really has got the jump and showed them a clean pair of heels.
Through the S's for the first time, and it is the Blue Wing Honda supported Jared Love out of Hamilton, ex-motocrosser, son of a famous father in Laurie, that leads them through. Here comes the challenge, though, from Andrew Stroud.
Stroudy's been running pretty high and wide up there. I think he's leaving himself open for opportunity to get past up the inside.
Well, that opportunity could come for Jason McEwen because it's him through in third place. Then it's 56 Craig Sheriff.
Where is the little 600? There it is.
Well, he's right there in fourth place, and behind him is Chris Seaton, the 26-year-old Australian. But at the end of one lap, it is number 69 out in the front. And for the first time that we've seen today, a little bit of breathing space maybe between 69 and 1.
Well, the track conditions now are perfect. The temperature's got up a little bit warmer. The track's sticky. Oh, it's going to be great. I think we could see a lap record fall here again.
Expert comments coming from Paul Pavlet. It's a man that has been there and done that. Of course, we talk again because Craig Sheriff has already lowered the existing track record, which was his from last year.
Yeah, he really does own it, doesn't he?
He really does. Craig Sheriff's currently sitting in fourth place as we watch this battle for first and second. Stroud just probing there with Love. Goes one side, then the other, just looking for any opening.
I think, too, what's brought this right to the forefront is this trans-Tasman rivalry. New Zealanders love fighting Aussies, and no matter what sport it is.
Well, it's an Australian in fourth place, but it's the man from Hamilton leading Jared Love now because Andrew Stroud, you saw the pass as they went down the front straight. So Stroud on the brother Suzuki into the lead.
I took a glance there of Andrew Stroud's eyeballs. All you can see is these big saucers. He's really concentrating.
Number 1, 69, 56 and S the order as they work their way up towards the Robert Holden Memorial turn.
That's a scary corner too, Phil. You come flying up there and all you see is a wall of hay bales. It's a blind. You've got to have a blind leap of faith and just fire it into the left-hander and go through there as hard as you can.
Well, did you see the advantage that Craig Sheriff took as they went through Robert Holden? That paid off in the Kawasaki corner. The next one through because he slipped up the inside of Jared Love and now moved into second. Over the Vesra Bridge they come. 1:69 is third now, so 56 Craig Sheriff fighting back the assault from Jared Love, and he holds them out as they go through Repco now down into Bridgestone. It is Sheriff's on a bit of a charge here. We saw in race number 1, Craig Sheriff took the win from Andrew Stroud. The positions are reversed at the moment. It's Stroud in the front. Across the railway line he goes, through the S's and heads up the Steve Staler panel beating straight towards Robert Holden once again, past the cemetery. That's where the circuit gets its name, and it's a circuit that's infamous for close, fast racing. That's what we're seeing here. And have we seen the tables turn? Because these guys are racing to the flag now. 6 laps happens very quickly at Whanganui, and Andrew Stroud is in command. 56 Sheriff's in second place. They've got one left-hander to go. It's slightly off camber, but I think Stroud's going to hold on to it. He does, so the points are tied up in Formula Whanganui. Stroud gets the win. He looks behind to see Craig Sheriff through in second place. In third it was Jared Love, and in fourth it was Chris Seaton. Fifth place was Jason McEwen, and in sixth it was David Johnson. Got a win in that last one.
Yeah, it's good. I thought Craig was pretty close to me at the very end there. But, once I got past Jared and I could put my head down and go a bit. But the new Suzuki 600 is on its way out pretty soon and it's pretty flash, so Craig will be a lot harder to beat next year, I'd say.
Well, time for the second race in the sidecars. This one brought to you by G&M Bikes and Spares. And I can tell you that Ron Curran is fine. Unfortunately, the rig is damaged and won't be taking any further part, but Ron Curran, the Australian pilot, is fine. Into the front, it is number S, Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod once again, but we've got a different man in second place. It's the Prentice brothers, Stuart and Darren.
Phil Law and Ravenwood's in a good position as well.
Yeah, watch for number 2 because they chased the Australians home in the first heat. Remember, this is the Trans-Tasman Challenge, if you like, brought to you by Sangyong, as are all the Australian sidecars, along with McCulloch Transport and Aircom Systems. It is Stacey Seller and McLeod out in the front. Already a change for second. 53's got up Steve Braun and Dion Weed, the locals on the Yamaha-powered rig.
Yeah, they're going to be getting the loudest cheer of all next to the good old boys in the classic sidecar race.
Well, that's right. Perhaps we should mention people that are looking forward to seeing the boys in the Triumph get it sideways all the way around Whanganui. There are 2 sections of sidecars today. There is the Premier class, if you like, and there's the Post Classics. This is the Premier class. It's the Trans-Tasman Challenge. S, 53 and 2 the order. So Phil Law and Gus Ravenswood starting to come into contention as well.
Quite a combination of units too. We've got a Yamaha 1000, a Honda 1100 and a Suzuki 1000, so all sorts of combinations out there.
And one thing we should mention, Paul, is the fact that the rig on your screen there, numbered S and the Sangyong colours, that is absolutely state of the art.
Did you see that, Phil? Right around the outside.
Wow.
Fearless.
They say there's close racing in sidecars, and Steve Braun knows that firsthand now. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of, a little bit of payback if it's available.
Yeah, he might be getting a few finger directions shortly.
Who knows?
How to find the pub.
These guys are aggressive, there's no doubt about that. But with all that coming together, it means that it is the New Zealand number 2 pairing of Phil Law and Angus Ravenswood that's gone through into second place.
The boys from Gisborne, go!
And quite a heritage for Gisborne in sidecar racing.
Very popular locals down there.
Dave Gooch, a big supporter of motorsport and sidecars in particular, and they are Phil Law and Gus Ravenswood, main sponsor, number 2. Now, what I was saying before, yes, it's a state-of-the-art rig. Some of these rigs behind them are 10 and 15 years of age. They just make subtle adjustments season to season, but the one that is leading, Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod, an LCR, capable of winning the World Championship.
Well, I think half the fun with these sidecars is the engineering that goes on the weekend with the mechanics and the team and just fettling and trying to improve them.
I'm sure you're right, because a lot of them are backyard operations. Some of them a lot more professional. And how's that? How cool do you want to be? Steve Braun and Dion Weed waving to our cameraman.
He'll be stopping for autographs shortly.
Oh, and there's been a problem there, number 2. Well, he was in second place. This is Phil Law and Gus Ravenswood. I think they've spun, and that's allowed Dave Annan and Phil Duthie to come into contention as well. And Dave Annan, well, is a story in that in itself. He's suffering from Campylobacter, and if you've ever had that ailment, it's not very nice when you're trying to do anything physical.
I'm sure he's got the bottom of his leathers duct taped up close.
Absolutely. We might not carry that conversation on much longer. Yes, Seller and
there you go, Phil. There goes the fingers pointing which way to the pub.
Well, we said there's been retribution, and there it is for all to see. 53, the local lads on the Yamaha from Whanganui. That is Steve Braun and Dion Weed. They're currently in second place. It's number 2, and that is Phil Law and Angus Ravenswood trying to argue that position at the moment. They've come back from a spin, so they're doing a fantastic job. And behind them, I think it'll be 27, Dave Annan and Phil Duthie. Out on the front, though, make no mistake, it's still the Australians, Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod. This, though, the battle on your screen. Race winner comes through to take the checkered flag. Seller and McLeod make it 2 for 2 in the sidecars. In second place, it will be Braun and Dion Weed on the Yamaha from Whanganui. And in third place, it'll be Phil Law and Angus Ravenswood. Second and final heat now of the Robert Holden Memorial. And we have got the top 30 qualifiers by time lined up on the start line. You see the tyre warmers coming off the machines as they get set to go over 15 laps. It's virtually a marathon here at Whanganui. The circuit 1 mile around, 1.6 kilometres. Once again, we'll take the inboard action from Jared Love's Blue Wing Honda. And once again, it's another great start from Jason McEwen from Sanson, and trying to come round the outside of him is number 56, and that is Craig Sheriff. So Sheriff's already up into second spot. It looks like it is Jared Love through in third.
Well, that's the worst start Jared Love's got all day, so he's going to be focused now to try and make amends.
You know, we said before that we thought he might have had brake problems. They've changed the whole braking system on the bike between races, so he's out for blood this time round. At the moment, though, it is 56. Sheriff's in the front. He has owned the cemetery circuit here at Whanganui.
He's a demon. Jared Love's a demon on the street circuit, and I know he wants to make amends. By his standards, he's had a fairly average season to date, so let's see what he can do.
56. Getting very close to the hay bales as he works his way down towards the big crowd, or the majority of the big crowd here at Whanganui, and that is over the bridge and down the front straight. Jay McEwen in second place, Stroud in third, then at 69 Jared Love, and then it is the ever-persistent Australian on the Bernard Racing SsangYong Suzuki 600, and that is Chris Seaton.
Oh, Sheriff must be just flush with confidence at the moment. He's just set the lap record on fire 2 or 3 times today. He really is on a roll.
That's right, he's dropped under the 50-second mark. 49.927 seconds is the new lap record. I wonder if we'll see it go again here. Craig Sheriff's in the front. Everyone got things to do behind him. Andrew Stroud would love to reverse the positions here, and well, if he does that, it'll be the same scenario we saw last year, and that'll be a tie going into the second round.
I think he might be changing the trend of bikes to be ridden around here, because for the last couple of years 600s have been dominant, and you really want to win this. This is a televised event. There's 20-odd thousand people here. You know, people might start riding 600s instead of thousands, Phil.
Well, 56, it's working for him. Craig Sheriff, Jason McEwen just goes up the inside of Andrew Stroud there, so he moves back into second on the Motor Dynamic Suzuki. We're on board here with the Blue Wing Honda. This is Jared Love. And just up ahead of him, I think it's Guy Martin, the import for the Rico Suzuki team that Sean Harris manages, to come out here and do something special. He's a special rider in England, finishing 4th in the TT this year. and soon to be a Yamaha factory rider on the streets in England next year, but really he hasn't shone at Whanganui, Paul.
Well, he's got his hands full with these local boys. You know, these are specialist road racers in New Zealand, and they're very fast on a world stage. I don't know about you, Phil, but my heart pounds when I see that bike cam.
Well, it pounds then when Jason McEwen nearly took out the front end of Andrew Stroud.
Well, Jason McEwen, he doesn't take any prisoners.
Well, no, that's right. He's had many wins here on many different bikes, and it's great to see him back to what will be, I'm sure, very shortly his very best. Once again, 18 months ago, suffered that huge accident, and now he is back mixing it with the fastest man on two wheels here, and that is Craig Sheriff. And don't discount number one, the brother Suzuki of Andrew Stroud. I'm sure he'd love to cap his day with a win and force a draw as they go to Pyra in the Battle of the Streets, the second and final round. This is what happened last year with Craig Sheriff, but then he was drawn with Jared Love. Jared Love, well, he's unaccustomedly back in 4th or 5th place. So as you said, Paul, he hasn't had a happy time of it here.
Yeah, well, looking too at Jason McEwen, Sean Harris's faith's been rewarded because, you know, Jason McEwen nearly killed himself 18 odd months ago, and this has got to be doing his confidence so much good.
Well, you saw him just make a little mistake there, and it was all it would take for Andrew Stroud to get back in front. There he is, bike number one. He is the current 600 Sports Production Champion of New Zealand. We've since heard that he's lost on appeal the Superbike title, so that's gone to Tony Rees. He is now retired. Andrew Stroud, still one of the best racers in this country. Make no mistake about that.
Did you see that? The 1,000 shot pass down the straight. Sheriff's under brakes, takes it back.
What about the move from Craig Sheriff? Remember I said that the 30 top qualifiers were here in the Robert Holden Memorial? That's why you've got the likes of some of the Super Motard bikes, and they'll be the first bikes that this man encounters as he comes up to lap them.
The difference here is on the 600s, you're actually powering through these corners. On the 1,000cc bikes, you're feathering the throttle because, you know, that can break traction any second.
Paul Brown just getting out of the way. Now it is Stephen Briggs' turn to move aside as the fast boys come through. And this can change the complexion of the race. We see it so many times. Certainly on the streets, it's pretty narrow, it's pretty tight, but it's Craig Sheriff still in the front. Stroud in second. Then we go back to Jay. That is McEwen. And then it is Chris Seaton.
Oh, pushed him out of the way. Aggressive move by Stroud. He really wants this win.
Well, that sort of testifies to the fact that he doesn't want to come here for second place once again. Now, what can Sheriffs do about it? That's the next thing.
I think he's going to have a crack at him at the Rose Gardens. He's going to carry some additional speed through the S's and have a crack coming out of the S's. That's where he's strong.
Andrew Stroud in the front, a devoted family man. In fact, his wife about to present him with twins in the summer season.
Here we
Hasn't
go.
been to Whanganui for 4 years. Here comes the attack. Is it from Craig Sheriff? Now, this is the corner. He passed McEwen before, and he does so again. And once again, Paul, he made it look easy.
Well, he's getting a power on earlier. Andrew Stroud, as good as he is, he's got a handful. He's got 190 horsepower, and he's thinking, do I want to get flicked over the fence into the hay bales? No.
His survival is on the minds here of all these riders. 56, though. I think on his mind is the fact that he wants to be the dominant force here at Whanganui. He's done that. From all the races he started, he's won all of them but one, or maybe two. Maybe he's not going to win this. Maybe I spoke too soon.
Well, you have to say he's braking well too, and that's a key component to Whanganui street circuit. You've got to have strong brakes and use them hard.
So Craig Sheriff's in the front. Second place, number one, Andrew Stroud. Third place, Jason McEwen. Suzuki's 1, 2, 3 and 4 because it's Chris Seaton back in 4th place.
Well, this is the home of Suzuki, Whanganui, and they're going to have huge smiles on their dials.
Peter Tanner just gets out of the way on the Aprilia as the fast boys start to get into the lap traffic. Sheriffs, Stroud, McEwen. Craig Sheriff, of course, coming from a family dynasty of motorcyclists in New Zealand. His father, Morley, still a champion in his own right. He's the man to beat, they tell me, in grass tracks. Of course, the ex-motocrosser back in the 70s and the days of Laurie Love and Peter Plowen and people like that. And yes, Laurie Love is Jared's father.
Well, Phil, you'd have to say, too, that Yamaha are really missing Tony Rees because, you know, he's a street circuit specialist as well, and, you know, he's really missed.
Well, that's right. I think you hit it on the head before, Paul, when you said that Suzuki owns Whanganui. They certainly do for the moment. Stroudy in the front now.
Tony will be watching the TV going, yeah, I can mix it with these guys. He'll probably be wanting if he should be coming back.
Past Superbike champion of New Zealand out on the front. That is Andrew Stroud, the man that has been the Battle of the Streets champion, the 600 Sports Production champion. Craig Sheriff sits in second place. Then it's the comeback kid, Jason McEwen. We've seen it so often. While these two are dicing in the front, McEwen's getting a little bit closer, and he's dragging the Australian with him. So soon it'll be a four-way battle.
Well, what's he doing? He's been lapped.
Well, problems there for Charlton. Certainly up with the front runners. showboating for the crowd, so obviously a problem there for the Bernard Racing team member. Meantime, while we've been watching Scott Charlton, Craig Sheriffs has got in the front again. There's no stopping the man from fielding.
He's on a mission.
I was talking to his mother before this race, and she said that the calming influence for Craig this season, or the last couple of seasons, has been his mechanic, Chris Osborne. Osborne's been doing the World Supersport Championship for the last 2 years, and he's brought all his experience to bear on this young man. And it's paying dividends in spades because he wins the second heat of the Robert Holden Memorial. In second place, it will be Andrew Stroud, and in third place, Jason McEwen. Fourth place was the best of the Australians today, and that was Chris Seaton, and in fifth, it was Jared Love. This time last year, it looked like you were going to go to Pyro with Jared in a draw. 3 laps before the end of that race, it looked like it might have been the same. Andrew was in front.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking that. Like, I led a lot of the race, actually, which surprised me. Like, to get a start like that on the 600 with the 1,000 is not very normal, but it was good. So Stroudy passed me, and I was like, man, he's going to run away and hide. But I tried to get back past him as soon as I could, just to try and mess him up, basically, and you know, just stop his momentum. And I managed to get past him pretty quickly, and then he came past again, and it was just like neither of us were giving up. So it was an awesome race, probably one of the hardest races I've ever had anywhere, I think. So it was good to come out on top.
That's it for this week. See you next week for more Retro Motorsport.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we come.